And as you can see, this 50mm gun doing some good amount of damage here. You know, I looked it up, of all things, on like a war history website, and I do believe the Greyhound had like a 37mm gun, just to give you a size comparison here. So it's kind of a medium, he's kind of a large. Regular Puma is kind of small. But now we have 2 damaged engines, of course, and this heavy machine gun fire is at least marginally effective against these lightly armored vehicles, by the way. So having that in the equation certainly isn't helping. But Burger's Puma is really not in a good position to be chasing it, but I would kind of like to see him at least poke his head around the corner. I think he might be afraid of of a little bit of anti-tank action maybe around there. We do see a firestorm being dropped here right now. Looked like it wasn't terribly effective. He was kind of able to get out of there with the Duffy's anti-tank gun. The accomplished Puma charging on in here to take care of this anti-tank gun. Being slow with the damaged engine means that his turning radius is going to suck a little bit, but he does have more than enough flanking power to take out all of Duffy's intrepid men there. So unfortunately, Duffy's anti-tank gun down, didn't really get to do too much damage to this Puma, but Puma's not going to have to get out of here and try not to take too many extra sticky bombs there. But for now, it looks like he's good. These riflemen are a little bit overextended, but thankfully the Puma, like I said, is slowed down. Going to have some trouble getting up there. The Greyhound is on the hunt, using his speed and maneuverability to just maybe get out there and take some shots at this Puma. And taking a look around the left, we have a second Greyhound, again with the upgraded guns and skirts and that sort of thing. By the way, just to take another look at the Army items, since we don't always get to see them without a loadout screen, the AirTaylor does have the Greyhound increase max health by 24% and the cheaper mine reduction, the bargain Greyhound mine upgrade. And while we're on the subject of Army items, while I can get them, we do have decreased reinforcement cost for VenomGT for his Volksgrenadiers, increased squad health, and increased weapon accuracy. And as you can see, as we guessed, these Greyhounds make easy work of the wounded Puma. And the rest of these Volksgrenadiers are just kind of politely decline the invitation to fight there. They're a little bit outgunned in that situation. Berger's Puma, in the meantime, is getting a little bit repaired here. And we do have a Nebelwerfer up here in the north. So we'll have to see exactly how he's going to use that. Nebelwerfers are a little hard to use sometimes. You know, they're great because they can just get you a lot of free, indirect fire. And we do actually have a second Nebelwerfer, which is in a nice little position here, actually. So I'll have to keep my ears out, my ears tuned for that sound. And the accomplished Stug now. So pretty much just getting everything out of his Sturm Armory right now while trying to maintain his infantry population is going to be the important thing here. We do see a little bit of sustaining fire. This bunker is actually doing a good job of just kind of shooing away infantry that are trying to sneak in here. The Stug getting some great kill shots on the first of our armored cars. And we even have, let's see, we even have some Nebelwerfer going on. And boom, we just had a strafing run. Let me pop over here to AirTaylor to show you. Strafing run just took out all the guys while it was firing. And it looks like, here they are. Nebelwerfer rounds were just kind of scattering in this sort of area here. But unfortunately, whole Nebelwerfer, it was a pretty nice move by AirTaylor, actually. He did an overhead scout and then overhead strafing run in the same area just to take that thing out once and for all. Little did he know, however, or at least he wasn't able to react to it just yet, there was a second Nebelwerfer here that we're now watching. And that thing's just going to go ahead and fire on up. And let's take a look around. It's pretty far forward, so it could be firing closer to his base, but it looks like it's going to be taking some shots at these anti-tank guns that is kind of scattering to the wind. Very important to get that out there because those anti-tank guns encroaching upon you when you're trying to get an armored dominant strategy are very, very pesky. It's definitely the proper response from Taylor. So you'll see that the game is kind of going either way at the moment. Taylor's doing a great job of being aggressive and pushing up here and really standing his ground against a pretty scary force of hero armored units and that sort of thing with good commander abilities. So just kind of peeking around the mini-map here, looking at all the infantry retreating and that sort of thing. We do have on Taylor's engineers, much like last time, he does not go for the rifle upgrade, but he does get the minesweeper detection radius and the moderate health regeneration. So Taylor is a big fan of that. And we'll see, he did finally whittle down this bunker to the point where he could kill it. But unfortunately, the Fatherland HMG has now taken up position right next to it, which is probably a better deal anyways going forward in late game since there are so many tank guns around here. You can see Duffy's anti-tank gun does have 1 kill for buildings there. Although this is a new Duffy's tank gun, so that must have been this bunker up here, of course. Let's see. Just taking a look around his base. We will see the Panzer Command is going up. for Venom. And pretty much people are just healing around here. So let's take a look and see. It's you know, it's kind of anyone's game at the moment here. I really liked VenomGT's opening position. I'll just call him Venom. It's a little bit easier. I really liked Venom's position in the early game, and now AirTaylor's kind of thinking on the fly, and his ability to assess the status of the battlefield is kind of paying off for him. Now, Venom technically still controls all of these points, but AirTaylor's in a good position now to capitalize. He was able to inflict a lot more casualties and just be smart about his units and his unit composition, most particularly, just looking at the fact that he just got out a whole bunch of anti-tank guns and utilized them pretty well to kind of drive back the armor force coming from Venom there. So we keep an eye on Duffy's anti-tank gun. We're going to look up here and we'll see that the mine squad is out and about. 5-line HMG team retreating to a little bit safer position once again, making sure to stay within some good territory here. Looks like they're looks like the Greyhound is keeping this position from getting recapped. Meanwhile, we do have a flank once again. AirTaylor is trying to be a little bit clever about poking holes in the defensive strategy of Venom. You can see that he understands that this area was pretty well defended, so he has to take the long route all the way up and around in order to get in there. But he just goes for it anyways, calls his bluff, and is trying to give some side fire. But unfortunately, with the concentration of units here, very easy to defend. Nebelwerfer is now firing away again, right on top of these airborne. Duffy's anti-tank gun got sufficiently out of the way, but we do have some pinned airborne here. And they're trying to crawl their way up there. They're starting the cap. We'll see. Unfortunately, Fatherland HMG team retreated back here and aimed himself this way in order to fight off the rest of the riflemen coming up here. But the airborne are finally able to take control of that. More Nebelwerfer shots kind of landing out here. Unfortunately, the Nebelwerfers haven't been too effective lately. Every time they've pretty much done anything, AirTaylor identified it and moved accordingly, or Venom just had bad luck kind of with where the first couple of rounds landed. So, unfortunately, those resources are not getting very well used. But, not too terrible at the moment. So really, Venom just needs to take back this point, and that's, of course, easier said than done. So we're going to see, that's going to be the name of the game for him, is that all of his defenses around this area have pretty much collapsed. All of the investments he put into bunkers and barbed wire, all that stuff is gone, and he's in a world of hurt at the moment here. Not a world of hurt. I'm exaggerating here unnecessarily. He's in a position now that he needs to take back the momentum in this game. So Burgers Puma moving up, taking some shots at this Greyhound on Makarov. And looks like we do have some mortar rounds landing here. Yes, we do. Inevitably going to be very effective at keeping control of this victory point. So we'll have to keep an eye on these guys and see how effective they are. That's an interesting call. Obviously, these this mortar team, as you can tell by the machine gun that's on the ground, this all came from a supply drop, which drops weapons and ordnance and that sort of thing in addition to supplies. But he went ahead and picked it up and said, yeah, sure, I'll try out a mortar in this situation. Why not? And it's not a bad idea. He's able to kind of encroach upon Venom's static defenses as a result. Units like this Fatherland HMG are going to be in trouble if he gets sight of them. So I'm going to take a look around the base a little bit, see what's coming. We do have a Panther on the way. And we do have a Panzer Mark IV. I don't know if I pointed this out earlier, but he does have the automatic armored skirts upgrade army item, as well as the 16% increased max health. So I think we've seen almost all of each player's army items for the time being, but maybe not. Here comes another Panzer here. I said Panther earlier. I meant Panzer. I should listen to my own intros on what words mean. But like I said, Panzer means armor, so you can use Panzer to describe anything. Panzer Division could comprise of lots of other things. But, oh well. Good squad of airborne here moving up with a bunch of engineers and riflemen and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, they're going up directly against a Stug and a Panzer. The Stug is not so good against infantry. The Panzer tends to be a lot better. And it looks like he's not even going to try to get some kills with recoilless rifles or sticky bombs. He's just going to back out of there. He's just going to bow out right now. Now, when I first saw this, I thought to myself, now is not the time to be building more static defense. Now is the time to be building an army, and I was a little bit critical of him. But as you'll see, he does the right thing here. We do have another Nebelwerfer going off, and where is that landing? Here, he's firing it right here. Again, might have been a little off on the scouting. Maybe he thought it looked like he killed some mines there, but maybe off on the scouting there. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, we do have the Greyhound moving up, and this guy is in some trouble. You can see he just ejected his own gunner, so he had a little bit less weight and could get out there quicker. Over here, we do have tanks defending on the left, so this is going back to the original strategy of kind of defending the right and the left and splitting his forces, but I think Taylor may very well be outthinking him here and outpositioning him. Just being really aggressive with these anti-tank guns and positioning them, but not just positioning them, positioning and supporting them correctly with appropriate units. Lots of scouting going on. Really, pretty much there isn't anything that Taylor is not seeing. There's a lot of negatives. I apologize for that. So, looks like a strafing run just went off and did a serious damage to this Fatherland HMG team, who is now running for his life. Will they get a parting shot on him? They are all fired up and chasing after him, and no, they will get a tank round to the face. Scouting still going on. Burger's Puma moving up. Everybody's going to kind of take some shots on the centrally located airborne and that sort of thing. Mortar team is dangerously far advanced here. I think that's a little overextended. I think he was better off keeping him back here behind the hedgerow, but we'll see what's going to happen there. Definitely lots of shots coming in here. Panzers firing away. Dirt clouds everywhere. A little bit of pushing going on here. It looks like this is going to be an all-out war at the moment. We do have a little bit of anti-tank gun here firing at this armored panzer. We do have the Inspired Zeal infantry taking some shots at this tank gun here, but unfortunately this tank gun, like I said, very well supported by a whole bunch of infantry as well as a Greyhound there. Stug and Panzer combo are moving up, doing some pretty good damage on the field here. Bargain Volksgrenadiers, again, under the influence of Inspired Zeal, are fighting away with a bunch of Flame Engineers, and I think they should be able to hack this as long as they make sure they stay on the right cover. Looks like they may even be going for a cap on the victory point. Definitely something he needs to do at this point. In case you can't tell, I mean, he doesn't have to do it at this point, but by the way, I heard some people say they couldn't quite read these numbers. Go ahead and click HD if you're having any trouble with that. You should be able to read them, but just to give you an idea, it is 455 versus 309. So really, Venom has only just started losing points, whereas AirTaylor has already lost about 200 points. So moving right along here, moving right along. Big infantry push towards center. He's got to make sure he's going to defend this central location. Meanwhile, behind him, we do have the Puma and the Panzer here fighting off with a Sherman. So little did I know down here, the tank depot was erected, and we do have a bunch of Shermans on the way for sure. For AirTaylor. Taylor. I don't know why I always want to say Tyler. AirTaylor. Burger's Puma is absolutely just covered in sticky bombs, being shot by Shermans, not having a good time at all. And thankfully, he is retreating that Panzer just to get it out of the way there. But big ball of airborne. And by the way, again, I've heard some other people saying like, "Oh, they're called paratroopers." Well, the unit name is actually airborne. Looking right around here, we do have the Panzer IV up here in the corner. Nebelwerfer shots going off. Again, not having a lot of luck with these Nebelwerfers. Okay, there we go. There's the first good shot. Pinned them right in the fire, and he's just going to go ahead and retreat them. Not too bad, not too bad. And, I really want to see Venom go ahead and take these points. He needs to recap this point, and he needs to just be a little bit more aggressive with his armor, because he's having a hard time with the anti-armor. Really, the crux of all of this is good use of anti-tank guns by AirTaylor, as well as things like airborne paratroopers and that sort of stuff. So, kind of looking around at the moment, we do see, and by the way, note that these are just plain, ordinary, vanilla Sherman tanks. No machine guns, no army items or anything like that. Going up against some fairly pimped out, heroes and that sort of thing. So he's got his work cut out for him to be able to defend